Well, this is known as the Group of Death, Group B, due to the degree of difficulty in the competition within it. Colombia against Peru, with Brazil against Ecuador from the same group to follow here on the same pitch. Colombia have had to come to terms with the genuine tragedy, the dreadful Escobar experience, as well as their footballing failure in the World Cup finals, when so much was expected of them. Still the core of that squad, and joined again by their colourful goalkeeper René Higuita, who missed out in '94 because of injury and the fact that he'd been in jail. But there he is, playing tonight, despite a hand injury which made him doubtful right up till an hour before the game. Colombia only literally revealing their hand, as far as the goalkeeper was concerned, when they arrived at the stadium. Peru have been through a major crisis internationally, but are showing signs of stability under their current coach, Miguel Company. They beat Bolivia last weekend, 4-1 in their final warm-up game. And the side bolstered by Del Solar, a midfield player who earns his living in Spain with Tenerife. Colombia trying to rid themselves of a dreadful 1994 with success in 1995. Trevor Francis, welcome to you. What do you expect from Colombia in particular?
Well, what we expected a year ago never happened, did it? It was such a disappointment. So many of the players failed the nation, but I think tonight they've got the chance to put it right. Not an easy game against Peru, but I would expect Colombia, if they play to their potential, to be the eventual winners.
The referee is locally based, Ernesto Filippi from Uruguay. We're up in the north of the country. The city of Rivera does border with Brazil. The stadium here has been given a facelift for the Copa America, but the pitch, which has been a new one laid for this competition, has been giving cause for concern. And this match is followed straight away by Brazil against Ecuador. A real double header for the fans here and for all you watching on Sky Sports. Only Brazil have been able to train on the playing surface. They always regard themselves rather as above the law, but the authorities have tried to stop the grass being damaged. There's been a lot of rain, but happily today has been brighter and drier. The goalkeepers will appreciate that. And in goal for Peru, Miranda, who's not known in truth for his consistency. Faustino Asprilla. We're hearing that Leeds United are showing an interest in acquiring him from his Italian club Parma. They've been calling it the worst crisis in Peruvian football history. You might remember, older viewers, the great Peru sides of the 70s, World Cup quarter-finalists in 1970. They, of course, saw off Scotland in 1978, with the great Cubillas a key figure in both those campaigns. But the problem in Peru is they rather sat back and watched that generation of great players and thought they would go on forever. But of course they didn't, and there have been a couple of missing generations, really. The hope is, in Peruvian football, that this current crop can show that there is still life in a country which, of course, like all these Latin American nations, really does take the game very, very seriously indeed. But Colombia, the favourites tonight, but they were favourites in the World Cup, of course. Some said they were good enough to win that particular tournament. Instead of triumph, of course, it ended in the most awful tragedy. The Escobar business hopefully laid to rest now, with the killer being convicted only a few days ago to serve 43 years in jail. Number 16, Aristizabal, will be up front with Asprilla for the Colombians. But Trevor, Valderrama's still there in midfield, 33 years old, and a bit of a campaign in Colombia for him not to be involved. What's your view on him?
Well, I felt that he was a big part of the reason why they didn't do so well in the USA. I feel that with him in the centre of the midfield, he conditions the play. It becomes far too slow. I'd like to see a much more high-tempo game, but obviously he is a very, very talented player. Let's see how he gets started tonight.
Colombia have been playing in the United States last month for the US Cup. They finished runners-up for the host nation. They played 3 matches, won 1-0. That was against Nigeria. They drew 0-0 with Mexico and 0-0 with the United States. They played neat football, but they weren't, as Trevor was suggesting, particularly purposeful. But maybe a bit more so here with Asprilla looking for a fast start. Cleared by Jorge Soto. Valderrama, who loves the ball, but perhaps doesn't always use it as positively as some coaches would advocate. Del Solar in midfield for Peru is such a key man. Santa, number 2, wearing that shirt and playing at left back. Mendoza and Bermudez, the 2 centre-backs. Gaviria here, another from the World Cup of '94. And Freddy Rincon. And the leggy Rincon, who's been playing in Italy for Napoli. Gaviria trying to help it on. Aristizabal coming back. Colombia have never won the Copa America, but Peru have won it twice. For many years, of course, the Colombians were the whipping boys internationally of the South American game. All sorts of confusion about their domestic league. They were banned from FIFA in the early post-war years. There was a time when they attracted, illegally, some top British players out to try and get better money than was available back at home. That didn't work out, and Colombia took a long time to make a really major mark on the international scene. But Rincon and players of his calibre, certainly to be admired. Valderrama trying to let it run. Peru feel that they have made sufficient progress, perhaps not to win this tournament, but to at least be in the shake-up for the quarter-finals. But Trevor, it's going to be very difficult from this group.
Yes, with Colombia being the favourites, they've, as we expected, taken the initiative from the start. They're knocking it around, getting plenty of passes, everybody getting an early touch of the ball. But as of yet, they haven't created any chances. I'll be interested to see what style they adopt tonight, because I felt that during the World Cup, it's a very much short passing game. Very, very predictable. I felt they could have lengthened it a little bit at times, especially with the likes of Asprilla up front, who's got such great pace.
Forward by Rodriguez. Ramirez is the number 9, who scored a couple of goals in that warm-up game I was talking about against Bolivia. A shot from Palacios. He's come through a very good youth system at his club, Sporting Cristal. And he was allowed here to turn and let fly.
Yes, the defender for Colombia didn't close the player down, so Palacios tried his luck. Here he should have been closed down. He's got 5 yards to spare, so he just has a crack.
And certainly with this question mark about the fitness of René Higuita, one would expect, if Peru are properly prepared for this, to examine just how damaged that hand might or might not be. It's been the main talking point from the Colombian camp.
I don't think it's going to worry Higuita too much. I think if he had a foot problem, it would have been more of a concern.
Valderrama. Wow, it was exciting to watch. The offside flag went up. It must have been close against the number 13, Cabrera. But watching Colombia last year and this year, their problem seems to be to get some forward width into their play. And they were trying for the central route here.
A little bit unfortunate there. Great little bit of individual skill.
Aristizabal. Gaviria is the number 6. Asprilla trying his luck. These two nations did contest the final in 1975. One would be surprised if that happened in 1995. But this competition is a great tournament, really. It was first started in 1916. That's 14 years before the first World Cup finals, and getting on for 40 years before a concept of a European Championship started to become a reality. It's been played at various intervals in various ways. It hasn't always been staged in a short period in one country. Indeed, when Colombia and Peru met in the final in 1975, it was home and away, and it went to a third game, which was played in neutral territory in Venezuela. Gaviria. Bermudez. Santa, a very right-footed left-back. The hard-working Lionel Alvarez would be more conspicuous than number 14 if he hadn't got Valderrama alongside him all the while in his international career, who's really taken the eye with the hairstyle as well as with his ball-playing abilities. The younger of the Soto brothers, Jorge. Peru didn't make it to the World Cup finals last year. They were bottom of their qualifying group with just 1 point from 6 matches. A real disaster in that campaign. There's been a lot of work at grassroots level to try and lift Peru as a footballing nation, but of course it's not a rich country. Nicely taken by Del Solar. This is Baroni, who's been playing in Portugal. Was making progress then and rather took the shot at the wrong moment when he was not quite set for it.
Yes, over-optimistic there. Really weak effort. He's not going to trouble a Guita from that sort of distance.
Not a huge crowd at the start of this game, but the stadium filling up with each passing minute, with the Brazilian fans expected in vast numbers for this double header, the second leg that they're particularly interested in. Brazil and Ecuador. A very difficult group to predict this, because for all Brazil's wonderful skill that we saw recently in the Umbro Cup and the new side being constructed under the old coach Mario Zagallo, they don't do so well against fellow South American nations.
Despite there being plenty of empty spaces here, they're certainly making a lot of noise, those that are in the stadium.
Rincon. Rincon again. Just a suspicion that Asprilla was brought down, but Valderrama was chasing in. The ball was too long for him. But a longer pass forward, which isn't always the first nature for the Colombians.
It's interesting there, Valderrama making a forward run into the box. It appears that he's rotating a little bit with Rincon. Whenever I've seen Rincon play for Napoli, he seems to be playing in a more advanced position. But often here tonight in his opening 9 or 10 minutes, he's coming much deeper.
Yes, I think internationally he is regarded as a midfield player, and certainly one who can take a chance. Valderrama has not got a very good goal-getting record himself in international games. Here's Palacios. Higuita started to come. Still Palacios, a real chance for Peru. And Higuita sets off. This is a little thumbnail sketch if you have not seen him before. I'm sure so many of you will have heard of his goalkeeping stroke outfield playing style. He takes free kicks, he takes penalties, and he certainly is the first line of attack as well as the last line of defence.
Well, we spoke about Colombia not lengthening the game. The first thing that Higuita does when he gets it is he lengthens it. Plays a very good ball down the line to Esprilla. I mean, we can laugh at it and criticise it, but it was a good pass.
And it certainly was a very positive attitude. And that's how Colombia have started here. Criticised at home for a rather subdued showing in the United States last month. They came very close to depriving the Americans of that US Cup. They needed a goal, and in the very last seconds, Bermudez, who's playing tonight, had a header cleared off the line, which would have won the cup for them. The draw wasn't good enough, and they ended up in second place.
Let's not forget that Higuita dribble started after him making a good save. And really, he shouldn't have been given any chance, because I thought that Palacios had the opportunity to shoot with his right foot, came inside, came back onto his right foot. Wasn't a particularly powerful shot, but still it's the best opening we've had.
And he certainly got away in the first place, to the consternation of the Colombians. This is Rincon. Leggy, but able, unlike many tall players, to change direction with such a natural elasticity. Rincon actually means corner in Spanish, and that's what he's forced here. The photographer's getting yet another shot of Valderrama, whose international career appeared to be over. There's yet another Copa America for him. Santa. Bermudez. He's one of the newcomers. Of course, sadly, a gap to be filled in the centre of defence with the untimely loss of Escobar.
Well, as the ball's flicked on there, he elects to shoot. If he played it across the goal, perhaps Esprilla there stood at the back post would have had a great opportunity to give Colombia the lead. Here you see the ball come in. There's an offside there, but the linesman doesn't give it, doesn't flag, and over it goes.
Yes, it was Esprilla who was in the offside position, as the Peruvian defenders on the line both sprinted out when the corner was played short. Miguel Company in the spectacles there, in the centre of your picture. This is Alvarez, who a few years ago was being linked with a move to Derby County, which didn't come off. Down goes Carranza. The reaction in the crowd, partly because some of the Brazilian players have arrived at the stadium, and going to have a little look at what might lie in store later on in the group games by taking in a few minutes of this action before they get stripped and get their minds concentrated totally on the match that comes up both here and on Sky Sports. It's a marvellous weekend for you if you're following the Copa America, with the kickoffs tomorrow and on Sunday, a little more to the liking of those who aren't so keen on staying up through the night. Aristizabal. Cabrera trying to be adventurous from right back. Here's Faustino Asprilla. Such a hit in Italy. Santa. Valderrama. Asprilla, but Peru holding their line on the edge of the area successfully. And Palacios, who's been a good outlet on the right-hand side of midfield and is quite confident in backing his ability on the ball.
You mentioned Asprilla being such a hit with Parma. Just wonder why they're going to let him go then if he's been such a hit.
Well, it's the foreigners thing, isn't it, with other alternatives now. And I suppose he's a hit on the pitch, but off the pitch he's not quite such a reliable character. His trips back to Colombia have got him into trouble. You remember a couple of years ago he didn't play at Wembley when Parma won the European Cup Winners' Cup because he was injured visiting relatives in Colombia. A true story of that I'm sure we'll never know, but he was certainly injured. Free kick to Peru. Here he is, Asprilla. I know Howard Wilkinson's a very good friend of yours, Trevor. Have you, on the grapevine, been party to the thoughts about Asprilla to Ellen Road?
No, that's one thing we don't discuss is players. Howard's got his own views on who he wants, who he doesn't want. But we haven't discussed Asprilla, but he's a player that I've admired, and I know he cost a lot of money to bring into this country, but I'm sure he'd do very well in the Premiership.
And these days, of course, the wages are there to pay players who would have expected bigger wages in Italy. This is Rincon, by the way, and not Asprilla having a shot.
Yes, I've spoken to one or two of my Italian friends, and all of a sudden they've said that there's such great interest now in Italy, you know, with the Premiership. So many of the players now would like to come and try their luck in our football, and obviously the common denominator is what you just mentioned, the fact that we're paying so well now.
Ramirez trying to force a way through the centre. Not getting any help from the referee. Del Solar. Certainly Peru not betraying the recent lack of success in competitive football that the nation has had to endure. But Colombia looking as though they have the potential to go on and justify those who feel that they're going to have a major part in this 1995 Copa America. Their problem, though, is not dealing with the ball in this type of area in the pitch. It's putting the ball in the opponent's net. Cabrera, who was an attacking midfield player, who's moved into the back line these days. Alvarez, who does so much of the donkey work in the Colombian midfield. Asprilla, who's capable of taking on the most massed ranks of defenders. And Aristizabal. Dario Gomez, the coach, left Aristizabal out of the squad in the United States last month because of disciplinary problems. But he's brought him back here.
The players from this distance aren't afraid to shoot, are they? But that's another woeful effort. We've seen 3 or 4 shots now from outside the box without really any conviction at all, and have not troubled the keepers.
Carranza getting it forward. Baroni. But it only comes back as far as Asprilla. Oh, some space here for Aristizabal, looking for Rincon in the centre. Nice turn once and twice by Aristizabal. And it did reach Rincon, somewhat to his surprise. Back from the right-hand side from Valderrama. Carranza's header. Del Solar. Peru trying to play their way forward. Alvarez winning it back. It's basically his job in there. Cabrera. Palacios. Del Solar taking over. Good tempo to the play. But the ball being given away rather too often for Peru's liking. Asprilla ploughing his own furrow, as he is wont to do.
That's when Asprilla's at his best, when he starts coming deep, receiving the balls into his feet and defenders backing off. He runs at them with such great purpose, using his speed. He really is a big threat.
Here he is again. I want to get to him quickly, Peru, and they did. Del Solar, the Spanish-based midfield player, the Peruvian captain, trying to influence proceedings Peru's way. The player brought down is Obius. There's Baroni waiting in the centre. Ramirez, the number 9. Just over 20 minutes gone. There's no doubt that switching from 2 points for a win to 3 in these international tournaments in the group stages has added much more purpose for the teams, particularly in their opening fixtures, when so often you could almost predict a number of drawn games. Just don't lose the opening game used to be the philosophy, Trevor.
No, that's quite correct. Both sides here very keen to get the opening goal. You sense that despite the fact that Palacios missed the best chance, you get the feeling that if anybody's going to score, it's going to be Colombia. They're Asprilla, they're at his worst. Keeping hold of the ball far too long, should have laid it off to a colleague. Loses possession, doesn't bother to chase back.
The free kick's been given against Santa Fe. Handball. Arm was raised. Del Solar has wasted the free kick. Mendoza. A number of these players, like Bermudez, the number 5, were in the 1992 Olympics with Colombia under the current coach Dario Gomez. Gave them experience of international tournament play. Jorge Soto. Baroni. This is Carranza, with Obius making advanced movements down the left-hand side, still involved from Del Solar's pass. Del Solar trying to just nick it through there for the run of Ramirez. Oh, Valderrama with enough speed to get the ball past the opposition, but not to get away from the challenge, which was clearly a foul. Colombia did get to the final, of course, 4 years ago when they were beaten by Argentina. Asprilla. Well, in the end, the cross was just a bit of a disappointment from a player of his class. He did well to accelerate, to make the necessary inches to deliver the ball across the face of the goal, but with no power or precision. Alvarez, Valderrama, miskicked by Gaviria. Obius gets it back for Peru. Keita wanting to be involved, that danger sign when defender and goalkeeper get so close together. But Mendoza kept his nerve. He's an old hand at the back. And of course he's played with Higuita before. Higuita's jail sentence, incidentally, was for delivering a kidnap note. He said he was proud to be in prison. It was against the Colombian anti-kidnapping laws to deliver a ransom note, as Higuita did. And he had to pay a price for it, but Higuita's argument was that he saved a life. And it's hard to argue with that. Bottom line was that it kept him out of the 1994 World Cup finals. Cordoba, who's the backup goalkeeper here, played in the matches in the United States. Wherever you seem to turn in Colombian football, there's controversy. Valderrama. Even recently, the president of the Colombian Federation has resigned because of alleged links with the drugs cartel. But taking all that aside, if you just, as we should, judge what we see on the pitch, there's plenty of talent and a nation hoping to win this particular competition for the very first time. Santa. This is Gaviria, rather obvious with the shot, which will be used blocked. Valderrama. That was rather too nonchalant. This is Dulanto. Long for Peru. Bermudez saw it coming. Santa. Alvarez playing in the Copa America for the 5th successive tournament. Santa. Valderrama playing it and spinning away, but not really concentrating on the accuracy of the pass. But he's certainly trying, Trevor, it seems, to quicken his play a little bit. He certainly in this tournament in the United States was guilty of a lot of self-indulgence on the ball. We haven't seen that in the best part of half an hour here.
No, you're right, he's varying it, but I would still like to see him playing a little bit more in advanced areas. I think players of that calibre on the ball, that sort of technique, I think the opposition prefer them to go back looking for it in deep areas where there's no real concern to them. It's when they get in attacking areas, that's where the problems start to rise.
Rincon. No 1-2 to be orchestrated there towards the edge of the Peruvian area. Valderrama tries again. Asprilla flattened off the ball. Rincon has the shot. Flies up off Dulanto, but no one attacking it as it dropped from the Colombian point of view. Would you say the same about Chris Waddle? Is that what you tried to do at times, to get him to play in more advanced areas with his skill on the ball to hurt the opposition rather than come deep? Just comparing it with Valderrama?
Well, most of your creative players who've got ability on the ball, you want to see them in advanced areas. And Chris is no different. It's the same with Matthew Letitia. If he goes back looking for balls off the back four, you're quite happy. It's when he's in around the opposing box, 25, 30 yards from goal, it always spells danger.
Well, the danger to Miranda's goal here might come direct from a free kick. Certainly Aristizabal making sure that the referee knew he'd been touched. Asprilla has been known to curl them. Valderrama is there as well. Asprilla walks away. Valderrama takes. Bermudez, who's definitely a threat at set pieces.
Yes, it was a well-flighted ball there from Valderrama. Looking for Bermudez. He certainly got his head to it, but without any real power and direction.
This the third game of the 1995 Copa America and the start of the campaign, and it's sure to be a tough and tenacious one in Group B. Rincon, Aristizabal, Spria waiting in the centre. The play switch from left to right by Colombia. Cabrera, Spria, Aristizabal, Cabrera, who again shows his willingness to drive on from his starting position at right back. He's caught offside here. And just to reinforce for you that this is just the first of two games for you from this very stadium tonight. That was very close. I must say, I think that was offside.
You don't think it was?
No.
No, I think the linesman was a little bit late there, putting his flag up.
And the second game, of course, gives you the first chance to see Brazil in this tournament. And if you watch Brazil play in England recently, I'm sure you'll be prepared to make it a late night here on Sky Sports and see the Brazilians again as they start their Copa America campaign against Ecuador. Foul by Carlos Valderrama on the midfield man Carranza. Dulanto, this one over the top, but not dropping for where Ramirez was hoping to cash in. Easy for Higuita.
Bit disappointing there to see Higuita catch that ball. I thought he brought it down his chest.
Rincon's ball for Santa. Possibilities for Colombia here, and Aspria wasn't attacking the ball in the centre.
That was a great little ball inside there for the fullback. Unfortunately for Santa, he doesn't appear to have a left foot. Despite playing on the left-hand side, he had to cross that ball with his right foot. Still a very, very good run, a good positive run, getting in the back of the Peru defence. It's the type of runs really that I expected Aristizabal in Aspria to make more of. There seemed to be plenty of running, but coming too deep, looking for balls continually into feet. Both of them seem to have decent pace. Of course, we know Asprilla's quick. I've not seen his teammate up front, Aristizabal, play before, but he seems to have decent pace. I think they should try and use it a little bit more, looking to try and get in behind the Peru defence.
Peru, for their part, quite happy to trade a bit of space. They've got plenty of numbers in midfield, and maybe defending deep is one way to deal with Colombia in that respect. And it's just this feeling that Colombia may make chances, but whether they'll take one remains to be seen. Very shot shy in the US Cup last month. They just scored one goal in 3 games, and that was a very, very fortunate deflection off a Nigerian defensive wall. And really would probably go down in the records as an own goal. And the player who took the free kick, Gomez, isn't in this squad, so they're short of recent international goal-getters. Jose Soto doing the tidying up. The back come Colombia with Valderrama, the willing Santa. Switching it to his right foot again. Not deep enough to cross. There were 3 at least attacking it that time for Colombia. Palacios, nicely played. On from Ramirez. Carranza. Well, the protection given to this playing surface has certainly helped it. How it will be when Brazil stride out in an hour and a half's time, I wonder, but the opening 34 minutes here hasn't damaged it too much. This is Gaviria.
Just delayed it too long, didn't he? Asprilla made his run, got away from his marker. Should have played the ball a split second earlier.
Palacios, lovely control. Passed just a yard or so too long.
It's not easy though for Colombia, is it? They're getting a lot of players through behind the ball, especially in defensive areas. And it's the left back, Santos, seems to be getting more space than anyone. He's made a couple of very good positive runs down that left-hand side. That seems to be the outlet.
Alvarez looking left. There he is.
Yep.
Santa. And this time more into the centre. Gaviria. Valderrama. Asprilla has turned his defender, and Miranda did very well to take the pace off the shot, and there was help on hand on the line. The danger's not past yet. Rincon, the goalkeeper's back. He's fumbled it, I must say. From what I know of Miranda, he's a very erratic goalkeeper, but he played his part a moment or two earlier in stopping Asprilla, giving Colombia the lead here.
That was good football. It was a good ball from Valderrama. Great run from Asprilla. Good control. Comes inside and should have scored.
It was Dulanto.
But those are the type of runs that I'm on about, Martin. Rather than coming to feet, he's gone in behind the defender, got himself into a position where he had the opportunity to score. I thought he should have shot earlier rather than try to take it around the keeper. And there we saw Miranda bravely going down at his feet, keeping Peru at 0-0.
Well, it was certainly the best chance for Colombia. No surprise that it came to Asprilla. Maybe greater surprise in that it wasn't taken. There's Asprilla again, and here's Dulanto, who filled in behind his goalkeeper and prevented the ball crossing the line. Gita appreciating the outlet on the left that time. Well, it was an accurate crossfield ball at some distance from Rincon to Valderrama, but there's still plenty of Peruvians able to keep the defensive shape and the organisation, which includes a line that wins an offside decision.
That was our friend Santar there, who was caught offside, popping up in an inside right position. Likes to roam forward, making them positive runs.
Foul by Bermudez. Del Solar with Baroni trying to conjure something up at the free kick. Baroni looked a little bit as though he was taken by surprise to get the ball. And it ends rather tamely for Peru. Del Solar, who took the free kick, was amongst the highest scorers in the Copa America 2 years ago. He scored 3 times. A couple of them were penalties. Rincon. Bit of a chase here for Cabrera. Ball stays in for him. Gaviria. Asprilla. Trying to be too extravagant then. Del Solar.
That attack from Peru came about all through Asprilla, not being prepared to play the ball easy. It must be so infuriating when you have a player like that with so much natural ability. But he's got to understand that there are times when he's got to knock it off and play it easy.
Not quite kept in by Rincon. Well, we're coming to 5 minutes to go to half-time. Viewers who watched last night's game will perhaps recall that Mexico scored in stoppage time at the end of the first half, which seemed to be a great moment for them psychologically, and they ended up losing the game and deserving to lose it to Paraguay, who scored twice in the second half. No goals as yet here in Rivera. Well, Santa certainly has put plenty of effort into what we've seen so far here, up and down. Well, a free kick rather needlessly given away on Rincon. Santa short to Alvarez. Valderrama. Rincon, Valderrama's flick. Valderrama again. Well, it was all done on the stretch first time, but it very nearly came off for Colombia.
Yes, that was good little interpassing there with Valderrama at the fulcrum of the little passing movements. The only disappointment was that when he found himself in space, the final cross into the box wasn't good enough.
Oh, Miranda, who does not inspire confidence on crosses. The whistle had gone, I think, for a foul on the goalkeeper before the referee appreciated the injuries.
Is that Bermudez again in the thick of the action?
Well, Colombia will know that Miranda is the best of a fairly average bunch of Peruvian goalkeepers, and that they can embarrass him in the air. So great is the predicament in Peru that they were trying to naturalize a Uruguayan to get him into their squad to keep goal in this tournament. That time it was, in fact, Gaviria who was the Colombian in the thick of things, but this was a nice play, and Valderrama trying to steer the cross in, didn't quite hit it hard enough. Herman Gaviria. In international tournaments, of course, we've seen the willingness to get, in recent times, outfield players off the pitch very quickly for treatment on the buggies or the golfing carts, call them what you will. But of course, with goalkeepers, it's not quite so easy.
Here we see Valderrama, good possession, but the cross not hit strongly enough, and it's an easy clearance for the Peru defence. But we spoke about the 3 points for a win. I don't know whether it's the fact that Peru consider themselves to be inferior to the opposition, but I don't detect a great desire to score a goal. They seem to be defending in large numbers. They've had the one opportunity early on through Palacios, but that's the only time in 43 minutes that they've come near to scoring.
Yes, they're certainly making sure that when Colombia have the ball, there are plenty of these distinctive style shirts back goal side. But they're forward here, and Higuita, they're trying to prove you wrong, Trevor. But you're right, there haven't been too many dangerous thrusts, but that was one of them, and Higuita required.
It's not a bad cross, that, but full marks to the keeper. He's very alert.
Trying to find Ramirez here. but Higuita got in front of him. A little bit of stoppage time because of the injury to Miranda. As we're coming to 45 minutes played. Santa.
You just feel at times in that midfield there's just not enough care taken with the passing. We're only talking about 5-yard balls, and they're giving possession away far too easy. You know, for players of the ability of Valderrama and Rincon, who's in possession now, all it needs is a little pass. Take a little bit more care with it.
Well, one thing the Peruvians have been saying here is that they feel that they've come to terms with the fact now that modern-day midfield players really have to get up and back and do their grafting, do their challenging. And they're trying to do that to Colombia. And apart from the unforced errors, there have been some forced errors as well. They're around the ball in good numbers here. Alvarez, who's not really regarded as the best passer from midfield. It's easily broken up again by Peru. And it's Baroni making the breakout. Bermudez with the tackle. And in stoppage time, it's Peru with a rare chance. Perhaps to manufacture something from this throw. Well judged tackle by Bermudez. It had to be, of course.
Yes, you got the feeling that Baroni going into the box, just looking for the penalty there. But it was a good, well-timed tackle.
Well, Peru will be pleased with their work rate in the first half. Colombia with a lot of the ball, but not a great degree of trust to go with it. And at half-time here in the opening match in Group B, it's Colombia 0, Peru 0.
So it's frustration all round, really. Colombia, the favourites in this game, held 0-0 at half-time. Well, watching the action with me here in the studio, the Scotland boss, Craig Brown, and alongside him, Frank Stapleton. We'll be hearing from both of them in a couple of minutes with their thoughts on that first half. It's goalless, though, at half-time. Colombia, the favourites, still have a lot to do to beat the Peruvians.
Watching
with driver's airbag as standard and a year's free insurance. You can with a Nissan.
The ground is burning up. You can feel it. Wheels are on fire. Sunday sizzling with live motorsport. The World Superbikes Championship comes from the very fast and fearsome Salzburg Ring. The most successful rider ever in the sport, Carl Fogarty, relishes the challenge.
Oh, big one!
There's more high-tech, high-powered international touring cars down at Donington. Sky Sports is burning up rubber. Sunday from 10:30 a.m. live.
So the situation at Rivera Stadium, Colombia 0, Peru 0 in this Group B match, and really disappointing first 45 minutes, but still to come tonight. Brazil, the world champions, against Ecuador, live from that same stadium, coming up later on this morning. Hope you're able to stay with us for that. But joining me here in the studio tonight to share the action is Craig Brown, the Scotland boss, and Frank Stapleton. Craig, first of all, your thoughts on how important this tournament is overall for Colombia, because they were very disappointing in the United States in the World Cup. They really need a good performance here, don't they, to re-establish themselves on the world stage?
Yeah, I think you're right. They did have a very disappointing World Cup. In fact, they were a fancied team prior to it, and they didn't live up to expectations. I think there's an attitude problem there. I don't know why, but we look at the kick-off with great interest in Scotland, and we get a positive kick-off means they have a positive attitude. The kick-off was shocking. They played it back, and they never got out their own half for about 2 or 3 minutes, which to me indicated a complacency.
Yeah.
And I think they've got to get rid of this complacency and show a bit of urgency, and then they're a very capable side.
Well, we shall see. In the next 45 minutes, it looks as though Colombia, according to our studio guests, are going to win this game. We'll find out now. Cross back to our commentary team of Trevor Francis and Martin Tyler.
Thank you very much, David. Well, Peru obviously not happy with what they gave us in the first half. They're making 2 changes. Rodriguez is off, and Pinillos, the number 11, comes on. And this is Herman Kati, also waiting for the formalities to be completed. Of course, these days, he's going to come on for Ramirez, seems. These days, Trevor, you can use 3 substitutes, which for coaches everywhere is going to just make the use of substitutes a little bit, that's 3 outfield players if you wish, going to make it perhaps a position where you can take a gamble like this a little earlier in a game and make a double switch.
Yes, it's something that you would not normally do at half-time, bring 2 substitutes on unless you're losing perhaps 3-0. I've seen that happen before. But whether 1 or 2 players here are injured, I'm not sure. I just hope it'll be 2 that's come on and not another 2 defenders.
Well, certainly Rodriguez didn't get involved too much in the game in the first 45 minutes. Ramirez was doing his best up front with Baroni. But there was no obvious sign of injury. Well, just to emphasize what was being said at half-time, that Colombia really do see this tournament as a chance to put themselves back on the international map. They're trying particularly hard, not just in a football sense, to create a better image after the terrible happenings of 1994 on the field, of course, but even worse off it. Forward by Santa. That was rather aimless.
Just taking up Craig Brown's point about the complacency in the Colombia team, I don't think this is ever going to change, Martin, unless they leave Valderrama out of the starting lineup. I really do feel that he conditions their play. It's so slow, everything goes through him. You see players just leave it there for a second.
That's because Kati certainly wasn't slow for Peru, and there was just a glimmer of an opening through the centre.
You see players who are quite near to Valderrama, who are quite capable of passing the ball 5-10 yards, whatever necessary. Rather than do that, they just give it the easy little ball to Valderrama.
This is Rincon in a better position. Asprilla going in, gets another bite at it.
And by the time that Valderrama elects to pass the ball, decide what to do, the Peru players have reformed, they got back into defensive areas, and they know exactly where the ball's going to go. It's just been the one occasion when Valderrama's played a real talent ball in that first half, and that's when Asprilla had the best chance of the game.
Yes, will we still be saying the same of him if Asprilla, as he should have done, had taken that chance? It certainly was the one pass of true quality. Palacios. This is the gifted Del Solar who stubs his toe there. Valderrama with a snappy change of direction that time.
Yes, but you might just get someone in midfield who's able to pass the ball equally as good as Valderrama, but who wants to play for the team and not for himself.
Yes, and
that's the difference.
Wants to cover a bit of ground. As I said earlier, it is a debate that is very much to the fore in Colombian football circles, but the coach has said Valderrama plays. Now, should Peru do something surprising in the second half and maybe snatch a victory here, well, Valderrama might carry the can for that.
Now that I've said that about Valderrama, you could be sure that in the next 5 minutes he'll smash one in from 25 yards.
Colombia hope so, and I'm sure our viewers echo that as well. It's a genuine challenge for the ball by Cabrera. One thing I must say about this game is that it's been played honestly and fairly. We suspect sometimes South American matches of bringing riots on the pitch, with the players so volatile. The referee has not had a difficult task in this game.
No, and I think that's in keeping with the game, isn't it? You know, we've played 49 minutes now. There's not been one really aggressive tackle. That one tackle that you thought that may result in a yellow card, it's been really lacklustre.
Rincon. Gaviria's ball forward. Now, possibilities here for Colombia. Aristizabal. Well, there were 3 coming in towards the far post for the cross for Colombia. The ball didn't get that far.
Well, there were 2 or 3, Martin. I could see Asprilla, I could see Valderrama. One of them's got to make a run to the near post.
But we've had 5 minutes of the second half, and without too much to improve on from the first half, there has been an improvement, and that positive note is being struck by both sides, with Peru starting with the double change.
I think the one criticism you constantly hear in this country is that we don't shoot enough from outside the box. You know, we're always compared to the foreign players who seem to shoot from distance. We've certainly seen it in this game, but if this is the best they can do, I think I've seen to see our players not shooting from outside the box.
Alvarez. It's not been a difficult match for the goalkeepers so far. Higuita, who came back after more than 2 years out of the Colombian side to play in the tournament in the United States last month and to keep 2 clean sheets. His first game was against Mexico when Jorge Campos and all the colour that he provides, that was the opposing goalkeeper, and those 2 certainly dominated proceedings. Jorge Soto. Palacios, who does seem to have an array of talent. If they could get him into the game in a more advanced position from midfield. At one moment in the first half when he made a terrific break and then just rather lost total conviction as he bore down on goal. Free kick to Peru here. Del Solar is there. Pinillos, one of the substitutes as well. He takes it, and it was a fine effort too. Matched by the save from René Higuita. It was bound for the top corner of the net, but the goalkeeper just got there.
Yes, it was fairly predictable. We're going to see a shot from outside the box. It was well struck and an excellent save from Higuita.
So Peru have a corner. Ubius. And that was Dulanto, and Colombia suddenly finding difficulties. He's annoyed that he hasn't scored, the centre-back. But the earlier save, Higuita seemed to be just slightly troubled about where the post was as he moved to his right. Here, he could have been left stranded.
Well, in fact, it was a very poor header, wasn't it? I think that's one of the better crosses we've seen in the game. It was certainly a goal-scoring opportunity.
There's no doubt the game has gone up a notch or 2. Alvarez, and maybe Colombia will be provoked here by more positive play from Peru to quicken the speed of their own use of the ball, particularly from midfield. Back comes Rincon. Alvarez, Valderrama, that's a beautifully weighted pass. And Asprilla couldn't get into his stride. Pinillos, who had that shot that so nearly gave Peru the lead. Hacked forward by Higuita. Won by Asprilla, who chases a bit of involvement from Aristizabal as well. And gets a free kick, perhaps somewhat fortunately.
Whether it was a free kick or not, Martin, that all came about from, what was it, 50, 60-yard hack from Higuita. It wasn't the slow build-up, just one ball into the area where it causes problems. Asprilla could use his pace. He's got his team a free kick in a dangerous area.
Valderrama clips it in. Palacios. Stride lengthened by Del Solar to keep the move going. Here he is again. Backtracks Rincon. Valderrama, skillfully done. There's never any doubt about his technical ability. Alvarez. But Peru noticeably doing their pressing further forward at the moment. Just a little extra zest about their play. Cabrera clears. Over Asprilla. Gets it back from Aristizabal. Here's Santa quickly on the scene for Colombia. Rincon. Looping header from Aristizabal. And Miranda wasn't sure where that was going to drop.
That was good play from Colombia. The left back, Santa, involved in it. Rincon, little feint, back onto his right foot, good cross. And there Aristizabal, good header. I think it had been on target. I'm not so sure the keeper would have got it. Seemed to be struggling, Miranda, there to get to it.
It's quite unusual for him not to be involved in the goal kicks, so don't read too much into that. Rincon. Higuita again, but this time it's a more studious attempt at a pass to Cabrera, and he'd have done better to do what he did a few minutes ago and smacked it up the middle. Of course, it was in 1990 that Higuita played in the World Cup finals, and Colombia went out in the first knockout stage to Cameroon, and Higuita, in a glorious moment of failure, was caught in possession at a decisive moment, well out of his penalty area, and Roger Milla scored for Cameroon, and Colombia were on their way home. Aristizabal, in his desire to do it quickly, he did it badly. He wins it back again, in keeping with the willingness to be more purposeful. Some poor attempts at speeding up the play, but certainly the opening 12 minutes or so of the second half has shown a greater appetite for victory for both sides. Rincon.
It appears that Rincon's second half is playing in a much wider position on the left-hand side. I can't quite understand that, because the fellow in possession of the ball here, Santa, he found more space than anyone in that first 45 minutes, and it's denying him the space because Rincon stood there.
Alvarez. Here's the space well forward this time for Santa to fill. Another willing run. Rincon is there to support him and steer it off infield to Aristizabal. Valderrama. Gaviria won it back. Cabrera's there. Peru don't get it out in any control fashion. Carty, one of the two second-half substitutes, mindful of Higuita. Well worth pressing the goalkeeper in those situations, you feel. Rincon. But Trevor, you were tutting a moment or two ago at Valderrama, who tried to play that 1-2 on the edge of the area.
Yes, it was a delightful build-up. 3 or 4 players, Colombian players, involved in it. And the all-important 1-2 that Valderrama needed to play to put, I think it was Asprilla or possibly Aristizabal, clear. Just couldn't play it. And once again, you know, he disappoints when it's so important to play that ball. That means the difference between a goal-scoring attempt and not.
Twice the South American Footballer of the Year, Carlos Valderrama. frustrates. You just wonder if he'd had a normal haircut, whether he would have been so noticed around the world. Rincon. Sort of holding from behind by Carranza. But again, nothing too sinister. And this Uruguayan referee just has to sort out a minor argument after the offence. Rincon, the Colombian, and Carranza, the Peruvian. So half an hour to go. Asprilla. Cabrera, it's nicely played to find him. Cross is a very deep one. Asprilla's back heel. Santa. Good defending by Ubius. As Peru looked as though they were about to be opened up. It's a very, very deep ball back by Wilmer Cabrera.
Yes, I didn't think it was a particularly good ball, but Asprilla made it into a good ball. Great first touch, instant control, lovely little back heel. Santar elects to put it across the face of the goal. No one attacks it again, and Peru are able to clear it.
And as Ubiusi did clear it, well forward now. Canillos. Alvarez.
Surely that had to be a free kick. A definite push.
I would agree with you. The referee saw nothing wrong. Peru denied a free kick on the edge of the area. But in that previous attack with Cabrera on the right and Santa, who played the final ball from the left, both fullbacks taking up advanced positions for Colombia.
Yes, my first thoughts were that when Asprilla back-heeled it into Santar's path, I thought he was in a position to have a shot at goal. He elected to take it forward and pass the ball across the goal. You know, perhaps there I felt that, you know, he could have had the shot, Martin. I don't know what your thoughts were.
Well, he's so stereotyped to whenever it comes onto his right foot. And now we have a yellow card for Palacios. A referee who's had an easy ride given the volatile nature of these Copa America matches. Reaches for the top pocket for the first time. Remember, we have 12 nations in this tournament. It always used to be 10, but 2 years ago, Mexico and the United States were invited to make a more workable number. 3 groups of 4 to be whittled down to 8 quarter-finalists. So obviously, the top 2 in each group automatically get their place in the last 8, and then the 2 best third-place teams. Ubius. That's a deflection. I know some goalkeepers who wouldn't have taken the risk with the referee then and picked the ball up, but Higuita had no doubts, and he was proved to be right. It clearly wasn't an intentional back pass. There's always the thought that the referee might see it that way. Aristizabal with the cross, trying to get it in early. It's a bit of a jump in there.
That's a bad tackle. That's a 2-footed jump. I would have thought that merits a yellow card, yes.
The challenge by Carranza. And if he'd really made contact with Aristizabal, that yellow could have been red. That was naughty. What's going on? Says Colombia's number 16, or words to that effect. Hasn't been that sort of game. But it's an important game nonetheless, and the passion is rising within it. And it's another Valderrama free kick. Palacios picking up the loose ball and trying to run away from Santa. Most of the Peruvians are pushed out, not Ubius, but he got to the ball. trying to give Valderrama a taste of his own medicine.
Here you see Isabel working back like all good strikers should do. He's worked very, very hard tonight for Colombia up front. If anybody deserves a goal, it's him.
But it's still 0-0.
I just wish he had an easier name to say.
You're doing very well. Alvarez. Soto. Forcing him back. Jorge Soto, that is. Alvarez not panicking. Mendoza helping him out. Trying to get it forward to Asprilla, who's made it possible with a worthy challenge. Rincon. Valderrama. Neatly done. Again, our appetite is whetted, but our hunger for fulfillment to some of this neat play is not wiped away by an opening goal. Valderrama once more. Asprilla, for whom many things are possible. Back towards him by Santa. Rincon is there, Valderrama is there. Asprilla, now the angle of the challenge then was certainly enough to have Asprilla appealing for a penalty. The defender was wrong side, but the contact ruled not to be deliberate. Trevor.
Yes, it was a good pass from Valderrama. Asprilla just pushed there, but the keeper, Miranda, is so alert. Both keepers, that's the feature of the game for me, the way the two keepers come flying off the line. When you come off as quickly as that, you have to be sure you're going to get the ball. Miranda certainly did well.
Valderrama. Aristizaba. And that's going to be a free kick. And Peru giving one or two more away now. As the game just opens up a little bit, maybe a bit of fatigue. There's a lot of mental energy expended, a lot of stress waiting for the opening game.
I wonder who'll take this free kick.
It's in his contract, isn't it? Maybe not, though. One or two others vying with Valderrama for the right to do it.
Do you want to bet?
Well, Asprilla might fancy his a shot on here. Will Valderrama allow him to do so? Gaviria and Mendoza, I think it is, have joined the wall. Asprilla takes! Well, he certainly had the right to take it, because Faustino Asprilla has given Colombia the lead from a free kick here. And there's the somersault that's become his trademark. They've had to wait a long time for the breakthrough. And it was curved round the end of the wall and just in the narrowest of gaps beyond the goalkeeper's dive by the post. Trevor.
Yes, it's a great free kick. He deserves to take the free kick because he was the man who was fouled. Takes the ball himself, curls it around the wall, and you can't fault the keeper there. I thought at first perhaps the keeper was a little bit late moving across, but the ball's gone around the wall and into that near post. It's a goal that Colombia have deserved. And let's see the response now from Peru. Have they got the ability to come out and try and get a goal back? I have my doubts.
Well, it just reminds us all that this Copa America is full of world-class, talented individuals. Even in a match that hasn't consistently set the pulses racing, there are players before your very eyes who are capable of moments of magic, and that free kick from the top draw. Asprilla did play for Colombia when they were losing semi-finalists a couple of years ago in the tournament in Ecuador, but he was a late arrival. and not fully fit. And so the tournament didn't see the best of him. Will it be his tournament in 1995? He's made a good start. 20 minutes left for Peru. Baroni. Broken up by the burly Bermudez. And there's so much confidence now. There's a flag there that came a little on the late side. And to the relief of Peru, it did go up.
I think it was Santar who was caught offside, but what a great position he's in again, isn't he? Is it Santar? Or is it Aristizábal?
I think you were right the second time.
Yeah. But just going back to the free kick, Martin, I really thought that Valderrama would take it. But it just proves my point that there are players in the team who have got great ability. They have got the skill to pass it. They've got the skill to take free kicks and corners. And I think their Asprilla showed that not only Valderrama who can pass and take free kicks, he took it upon himself, and it was a great goal.
But it's what the game requires, because Peru have to be more attack-minded now, and they're trying to do and get a free kick of their own in a potentially scoring position through Del Solar. Ubius. Tennis Palacios. And Ubius had made a very bold break there. Again, it must have been close. Well, they have one more change that they can make, of course. This is Olivares. Peru, who made 2 substitutions at half-time, and preparing to make a third, which they are now under the new legislation for substitutions allowed to do, and it doesn't have to be a goalkeeper. It does mean, of course, should Miranda be injured, that someone, an outfield player from those involved in the game, will have to go in goal. Ubius is coming off, so it'll be very much like for like. Percy Olivares is also based like Del Solar in Spain with Tenerife. He comes on at a corner to defend a corner. I always say you shouldn't make substitutions when you're defending at a corner. Will that old adage be proved to be true as Colombia tried to take advantage of any reorganisation that Olivares has to be a part of. Do you subscribe to that, Trevor?
Yes, very much so.
Nios. Now Del Solar. Peru a goal down, time ticking away.
I think the main reason why, Martin, is that quite often the fellow who's coming on as a substitute doesn't have time to get into the box to take his position up.
And certainly Olivares is a defender, and he was expected to take on some responsibility at that corner. Here he is. Mendoza smacks it forward. That is come with no guile or thought. Del Solar. Nios. Valderrama. Hard-working Aristizábal back there, even behind him, working in midfield. Valderrama has had the license to move forward this time, and the willingness, that's more to the point. And Aristizábal wishes he'd had another chance at lining up the shot.
Should have been a better finish, and it was good interplay between Asprilla and Valderrama. Set up Aristizábal just outside the box. Good control, and there's no real pressure. It doesn't get closed down. Free shot. Yards over the bar.
With the feeling that more chances will materialise for Colombia with the game in this condition on the scoreline now. Peru have to take a risk or two.
And that's when Asprilla's at his best. When defenders have to come forward, push him forward, leave space for him at the back, that's what he likes to exploit. I often feel that when he's played for Parma, the best of him is seen when he's playing away from home. When the emphasis is on the home side to attack, push men forward, there's no better player at Asprilla playing on the counter-attack.
Valderrama tracking his runner well. Also internationally, of course, Trevor, I'm sure you remember Colombia beating Argentina 5-0 in Argentina in that World Cup qualifier when Asprilla was unstoppable and was at the forefront of the success and the margin of it. And Argentina were caught in that context, chasing a match that moved away from them at a rather astonishing rate in the end, a number of goals scored. Here is Asprilla. Stopped by Soto, the elder. Rincon. Well, Colombia would be feeling pretty confident in this situation, but a second goal would really sort it out for them. They'd hoped to spring the Peruvian offside trap there. Flag up against Aristizabal again. Well, the ball was played, so we can't see clearly, but the suspicion from that is that the linesman got it wrong.
Yes, he seemed to time his run well. My first impressions was that he wasn't offside.
Well, it's been a much better second half, and we haven't had so much time to remind you, of course, what's coming up very shortly now on this pitch, on this channel. Brazil against Ecuador. The second match in Group B. Calling it the group of death, as I've been saying. I think in the light of the Escobar experience, that's probably not the right term to pin to this particular section, but it's no doubt that it's going to be very tight. And Brazil will have plenty of support. This city of Rivera, very close to the Brazilian border. That's Pinillos, who had that great free kick earlier on in the half. Baroni, Peru trying to snatch something in the closing minutes here. With all the worry of Faustino Asprilla on the counter-attack for Colombia. We nearly got it through for Freddy Rincon.
Yes, the idea was right, wasn't it? He saw Rincon making the run in behind. Just didn't put enough on the ball.
Olivares. Oh, Baroni's turned well. And as he turned, he was being held, or certainly an attempt to impede him. The contact was outside the area, and Baroni going on to have the shot.
Yes, I think if Baroni had gone over, he'd probably won himself a free kick just on the edge of the box. But he stands up because he feels he's got a chance of scoring. He just can't get enough power behind it.
This is Santa. A second for Colombia now, and that would surely be game over, but it's not going to happen in this particular attack. Carranza scurrying to act as ball boy.
Just saw Barumi there breaking through the Colombia defence, and they haven't done it too many times tonight, perhaps 2 or 3 occasions, but they don't really convince you, do they, the Colombia defence, that they're the best defence in the competition. They haven't really been put under too much pressure, but on the odd occasion, they haven't defended as well as what they should do.
Here's Palacios, and again, that wasn't good defending either. Palacios! Oh! A truly stunning strike. And Colombia have been pegged back here by Palacios, taking Rene Higuita totally by surprise. There was one chance to clear it for Colombia. They didn't take it. It came back to Palacios. He bent it, he swerved it, he dipped it, and that's the result, 1-1.
Well, that's an incredible shot, isn't it? As it leaves his foot, this ball must move about 6 or 7 yards in the air. Goes one way. Your first thoughts are to criticise Aguita, but when you see the ball from behind the goal, it's completely deceived him.
Well, the second half continues on this much more up-tempo vein, and is there going to be an upset? Rincon, Valderrama. So, this gifted youngster, Roberto Palacios from Sporting Cristal, who was a very junior member of the Peruvian squad 2 years ago in the Copa America, is a very senior member of it at this particular moment. He's pulled a rabbit out of the hat. Now, at 1-1, how will the mind game work here? Will Peru think, we've got this equaliser, let's support the position and settle for a point? Not looking so on the immediate evidence, with Olivares well forward. And Del Solar. Palacios. Mendoza, mature man at the back, gets it away. Lovely change of direction from Rincon. Aristizabal, Valderrama. Oh, it's another contentious offside decision. Ball was played quickly.
Well, we'll see here whether it was offside. Good ball from Valderrama. Well, that's not offside, is it?
Yellow card for Jose Soto. Not quite sure what for. 8 minutes to go, and what we are sure of is that Peru have rolled up their sleeves here. And thanks to an astonishing equaliser, are closing in on a point and maybe more in their opening game in Copa America. And now Baroni is saying, well, hang on a minute, if you're going to dish out a card, let's see Colombia be on the receiving end. Quiñones is trying to come on here. And a card is shown to Wilmer Cabrera. The number is up for Gaviria. Quiñones is a more attacking midfield player. And he has a reputation for being able to shoot from long range. A reputation that now belongs to Palacios as well for Peru. Valderrama. Had runners either side. This is Aristizabal. Rincon continuing the momentum of the move. Freddy Rincon for Colombia. Stretching those long legs of his, and now with a chance to cross left-footed. Wastes it.
Well, the last 10 minutes of the game have been terrific, and it's all come about through Asprilla's opening goal. It's forced Peru to come out to try and attack, and they've showed in the last few minutes that they can attack. What it's also proved is that Colombia have been not been under any pressure really for 70 minutes. They've shown one or two deficiencies defensively.
Down goes Baroni. Tumbled by Quiñones. Palacios. Well, he was lucky again, as he was a moment or two before he scored. Almost playing a 1-2 off an opponent. Tell me, Pele used to do that quite deliberately and get away with it all the time. Pele would have been proud of the goal that Palacios has scored for us and for Peru here this evening. Cabrera. Brazil against Ecuador to come. Will the team of Mario Zagallo show the zip and zest that they did in winning the Umbro Cup? Or the Copa Umbro, as I'm sure it's known in these parts. Palacios is a definite offside that time. Against Pinillos. I'll say that. It's certainly closer than it looked, and it shows again what a difficult job running the line is. Quiñones. Valderrama. Easily cut out by Olivares. Paraguay shocked Mexico last night. A 2-1 win over a team with a greater pedigree on the world stage. Peru trying to manufacture the same scoreline against the much vaunted Colombians. At least much vaunted 13 months ago when they went to the United States. Coming into this tournament with plenty to prove and not really doing that. Over 86.5 minutes here, but still an opportunity to turn 1 point into 3 in the closing stages, particularly with Asprilla still trying to weave his magic. Asprilla gets the cross in. Bit of contact in the penalty area there. Trevor, I suppose in a way it's not such a surprise that both goals have come from outside the penalty area.
No, that's the one thing I've been keeping on about all night, is the shots that have been coming from outside the box. And to be fair, the majority of them have been absolutely awful. But we've seen two, one a great free kick from Asprilla, superbly curled around the ball. Then that tremendous shot from Palacios, which completely deceived Higuita. Just wonder now if we're going to get a winner.
Rincon. Aristizabal tangling with Carranza. Could have gone either way. It goes for Peru. Also, just on that point, that there hasn't really been an overabundance of goal sniffing, if you like. Players who want to go and pick up the bits and pieces in the penalty area. The crosses hadn't been attacked when they had come in.
No, there's a real lack of desire, I think, to get into the box and to, really try to score a goal. I've made the point on a few occasions that when crosses have come in, players haven't attacked the ball, haven't attacked the space, I should say.
Well, there's one cross that was easy enough for Bermudez to head away. That's a decent try from Del Solar.
I think we must have seen, 2, possibly 3 chances in the penalty box all evening. Most of the shots have come from outside the box. Here's another one here. Left foot. Past the post.
But with a proper sense of theatre, perhaps the best acts come last on the bill. Certainly a sluggish start to this game, but it's got much, much better. And Brazil waiting in the wings.
Actually, the 2 players who have scored the goals, and as I say, there have been 2 memorable goals, are the players that have missed the best chances. Palacios early on in the game, and then, of course, also in the first half, Asprilla.
Yes, they've certainly made up for those lax moments, one apiece in the first half. Goal goals to remember from each of them in the second. Baroni. And his arm was up. And handball, I think, has been given against him as the ball dropped. He was hoping to be able to take that down rather than attack it and go for what they call a one-touch finish with a header or a volley. Pinillos losing out to Alvarez. Steady Eddie in midfield he is. Santa. Are we going to get a dramatic winner here? Asprilla, who can send defenders in different directions with a shimmy or two. Wasn't given any space that time, and we're into stoppage time. Well, Group B has opened here with a 1-1 draw. An indifferent first half, much better in the second. It will be remembered for two terrific goals. Colombia, the favourites to win this game, took the lead through Asprilla's beautifully struck free kick. But young Roberto Palacios, with a swerving equaliser from long range, restricting Colombia to 1 point and certainly giving Peru some reward from a daunting opening game for them. 1-1 in Rivera.
Your commentators there, Trevor Francis and Martin Tyler, and as Martin said, really a much better second half, and I'm sure Peru well pleased with that 1-1 draw. Of course, Colombia much fancied to win that game, and Brazil too, the favourites in that group along with Colombia, but it 1-1 in that match. We'll see those goals again in the second half after this break.
You're watching Sky Sports.